They found the lab on a Tuesday, 4 a.m. Federal agents in raid jackets, the kind with letters big enough to read from satellites. They expected resistance. What they found was fluorescent lights humming over empty workstations. Biohazard symbols on doors that opened into spotless rooms. Server racks stripped to bare metal. Whoever had been there knew exactly how much time they had. I didn't learn about the raid until my head of security called at 6. Claire was already in my office by 6:15. She didn't sit, just placed a tablet on my desk showing news alerts that hadn't gone public yet. Asterisk federal investigation into Vanguard Genetics human trial irregularities. Asterisk. We contain this, she said, or we're done by market open. I built Vanguard from a UCSF lab grant and a hypothesis about CRISPR everyone said was premature. 14 years later, we're worth $18 billion. We've eliminated hereditary blindness in 73 children, extended quality lifespan by measurable years. And someone just burned down a facility I didn't know was running human trials. 72 hours before the raid, I received an email to an account I use for exactly 3 people. No subject line. One attachment, a patient consent form. 23 years old, gene therapy trial VG 447. Neurological enhancement protocol. My signature at the bottom. I've never signed that form. I've never heard of trial VG 447. The signature was perfect. Same pen pressure. Same hesitation on the downstroke. Either someone had access to signing algorithms we don't sell to anyone, or they'd practiced until muscle memory matched mine. I was still staring at it when Jordan walked into my apartment without knocking. Haven't seen my daughter in 8 months. She stopped answering calls after dropping Stanford's film program. Now she's in my entryway with a duffel bag and camera equipment, telling me she wants to make a documentary about what it's really like to be Marcus Vale's family. Timing felt like a surgical incision. If you're hearing this right now, help me prove something wrong. My mom thinks I'm wasting my time doing this, but if you subscribe, it reminds me that I'm not. Just a week, she said. Her mother's eyes, my skepticism. You're always saying we don't know each other. I should have said no. Should have recognized the setup. But there's a specific loneliness that comes from building something world-changing while your daughter learns who you are from Forbes profiles. The second email arrived that night. 2 lines. Sienna Cross and GPS coordinates to a Soma parking garage. Sienna. Former lead researcher. Brilliant and uncompromising. She left 6 months ago. Personal reasons. No exit interview. No forwarding address. I pulled her personnel file. Spotless record. 14 patents. Security logs showed standard access until her last day, then nothing. Except that wasn't true. Archived surveillance showed Sienna at 11:47 p.m. the night before her resignation, using an executive keycard that shouldn't have worked. Entering server room C, 18 minutes. The log showed 847 gigabytes transferred to an external device. Everything about undisclosed trials would fit in 847 gigabytes. The coordinates led to sublevel 3, northeast corner. I went alone. Found a USB drive taped under the stair railing with care that suggested knowledge of camera blind spots. I didn't plug it in. Not yet. Because standing in that oil-stained concrete dark, I realized the question wasn't what Sienna had taken. It was what she'd left behind that required federal agents and pre-dawn raids. And whether my daughter showing up with cameras right now was coincidence or the next move in someone else's game. I have a room in my house that doesn't exist on the floor plan. Faraday cage built into the walls. No wireless signals. It's where I review acquisitions before announcement, where I read intelligence on competitors' trials, where I do thinking that can't leave digital traces. That's where I plugged in Sienna's drive. 47 video files. No labels. Just timestamps spanning 14 months. I opened the first one. A kid. Maybe 22. Medical observation room. White walls. Monitoring equipment. Institutional fluorescence. Running cognitive tests. Pattern recognition. Memory, recall. Mathematical sequences. He's extraordinary. Solving problems in seconds that should take minutes. The timestamp says day 12 of trial VG 447. The second video is day 41. Same kid. Can't remember his mother's name. Hands shake when he writes. Tremor in his left eye. Asked to repeat number sequences. Gets through 3 before his face goes blank, not confused, blank. Like someone powered him down. The third video is day 63. Strapped to the bed. Seizing. Neurological cascade failure. 2 doctors working with desperate efficiency. That means they know it's over. Trial VG 447. My signature on the consents. 16 different patients. Same progression. Enhanced cognition followed by catastrophic decline. None walked out. Jordan found me in the kitchen at 7, still in yesterday's clothes. Set up her camera on the counter. Started filming while making coffee. You look terrible. Long night. Couldn't sleep. Anything to do with the Oakland facility? I stopped reaching for the mug. What do you know about Oakland? She shrugged. Camera, recording. Just that it got raided yesterday. Biotech news feeds. Vanguard subsidiary. Federal investigation. Poured coffee, handed it to me. Weird your head of security didn't mention it. My daughter. 22. Playing dumb while asking questions she already knows answers to. Jordan. Why are you really here? She looked at me through the viewfinder. Because I want to know who you are when nobody's watching. Before I could answer, Claire called. Reeves is here. DOJ. He has a warrant. Nathan Reeves looked exactly like what he was, career investigator who'd stopped caring about politics. Rumpled navy suit, coffee-stained tie, leather notebook he kept consulting. He placed the warrant on the table. Specific requests. Patient records from trial VG 447. Consent forms. Protocol documents. Financial transfers. Every item matched something on Sienna's USB. How long have you known about this trial, Mr. Vale? I didn't. You signed the consent forms. Someone forged my signature. He smiled. Not friendly. That's what they all say. After Reeves left with our servers, Claire and I stood in my office watching his vehicle disappear. You knew, I said. She didn't deny it. Turned from the window. Arms crossed. 8 months ago. Budget discrepancies. Traced them to Oakland. Found the trial files. And you said nothing. Burning down a company over unauthorized research helps no one. Not patients. Not shareholders. Not 1,600 employees. Her smartwatch buzzed. She ignored it. I buried it. Shut down the facility. Made sure it couldn't happen again. The patients were already dead, Marcus. Every one. What was I supposed to do? Destroy everything we built over something we can't undo? The next email arrived. Another name, David Chun. Age, 23. Trial VG 447, patient 7. Timestamp, died 72 hours after his final video. Below, asterisk his mother still thinks he's in graduate school. She doesn't know you killed him, asterisk. I pulled David Chen's file. Found intake forms. Emergency contact, Margaret Chen. Oakland address. Then I cross-referenced Sienna's phone logs. 53 outgoing calls in 6 months. I ran the numbers. 12 matched families of trial VG 447 patients. Sienna wasn't just collecting evidence. She was building an army. Margaret Chun lived in a rent-controlled Oakland apartment. 3rd floor, walk-up. Cooking smells in hallways. Peeling paint on door frames. I knocked at 3 p.m. on Thursday. Told security to wait in the car. Told Claire I had a migraine. Told Jordan I needed space. Margaret answered wearing hospital scrubs, Kaiser badge clipped to her collar. Late 50s. Tired in a way that suggested permanent. She looked at me with polite confusion. Can I help you? Mrs. Chun. I'm Marcus Vale. I'm here about David. The confusion shifted. David's in Boston. Graduate program at MIT. He doesn't come home much, but we video chat Sundays. She glanced past me. Is he all right? That's when I understood the depth of what we'd done. The apartment was a shrine. David's robotics trophies everywhere. Framed Berkeley acceptance letter. His childhood bedroom visible. Bed made, waiting. Photos of David graduating, winning awards, smiling. David strapped to a bed, seizing. He got the scholarship 2 years ago, Margaret said, pouring tea. Full ride. Vanguard Educational Foundation. They said he was selected for research potential. She showed me letters. Official letterhead. My forged signature. He calls less now. Says the program's intensive. But he sounds happy. Letter dated 4 months after David Chun was dead. Mrs. Chun, when did you last see David in person? Maybe 18 months? Christmas 2 years ago, then left for the program in January. Proud smile. They said family visits would disrupt research continuity. He's doing important work. The letter said you personally selected him. Someone had been sending letters, impersonating her dead son on scheduled calls, creating fiction to prevent questions. 16 families. I left without telling her. Stood in that hallway and realized I didn't know how to destroy a mother's last piece of hope. Jordan was waiting at home. Editing equipment in my guest room. 3 monitors. Timeline software. Hours of footage. Me with the USB. Watching the videos. My face when David Chin seized. All captured from angles I didn't know existed. You put cameras in the Faraday room. Hidden in ventilation. Battery powered. She didn't look up. You taught me to be thorough. Check your sources. Jordan. I've been matching faces to missing persons reports. Scholarship announcements. Obituaries that don't add up. She clicked through frames. I'm trying to figure out if you're the villain or too stupid to be the villain. Which might be worse. Reeves called at midnight. Personal cell. Family only number. We need to talk. Off record. Tonight. 24-hour Tenderloin Diner. Corner booth. Folder of Vanguard financial records. Wire transfers. Oakland facility. Monthly payments of $340,000. Authorization requires signatures for amounts over $100,000. Claire's signatures. Your crisis director budgeted for trial VG 447. Allocated resources. When the first participant died, she relocated it. Found less oversight. Hired doctors under NDAs with 7-figure penalties. Internal emails. Claire to Dr. Raymond Foster. Asterisk continue protocols. Adjust dosage. Patient mortality is acceptable if data quality remains high. Asterisk. Patient mortality is acceptable. Foster's talking. Gave us everything for immunity. Says Claire presented this as your personal project. Used your name. Forged signatures. Convinced everyone you were running off books military enhancement. I know. Foster says you didn't know. But I can prove Claire authorized it. I can't prove you didn't. In 48 hours, I decide who to indict. He stood. Dropped cash on the table. Testify against her. Give me documentation proving you were kept dark. Or I build the case around you. Someone's career ends. You choose whose. New video file arrived as I sat outside. Sienna. Motel room. Platinum hairback. Silver compass catching lamplight. Marcus. You've met the families. Seen what we did. What you signed off on. Trial VG 447 was Claire's project. But it ran on your money. Your reputation. Your authority. I've given copies to 16 families. Contacted journalists. Briefed attorneys. Sent everything to the NIH Ethics Board. You can't bury this. You can only decide how you want to be remembered. Recorded 6 days ago. 12 hours before the federal raid. Sienna didn't just build an army. She'd already launched the war. Claire came at 2 a.m. No warning. Still in yesterday's burgundy blazer. Smartwatch dark. 20 minutes. No devices. She stood by the window, overlooking the city. Foster's testimony is leverage. DOJ wants executive conviction. Right now it's you, or me. She turned. I'm offering a third option. Blame Foster for protocol violations. Admit executive negligence. Settle with families through confidential arbitration. NDAs enforced by 20-year payments. Reeves gets scientist-level conviction. Vanguard survives. 16 families get financial security. Foster gets 18 months. Vanguard continues legitimate work. You keep what you built. And you I resign. Take responsibility for oversight failures. Golden parachute. I'll consult pharma, triple my salary. She sat. This is the clean version. Everyone gets something. Nobody loses everything. Except the truth. Truth is 16 people died in unauthorized trials. Everything else is deciding who pays. Her watch buzzed back to life. 12 hours. After that, I build my defense. Starting with every email you sent about accelerating timelines and beating competitors. Jordan was on the stairs. Camera off. I've been talking to Sienna for 3 weeks. She contacted me a month ago. Evidence you were involved in illegal trials. Asked if I wanted truth. Jordan sat on the bottom step. I thought she was insane. Then she sent files. Records. Videos. Names. This was never about family. It was about finding out if you knew. Monster or negligent. Sienna needed someone inside. What did you conclude? That you built something bigger than you could control. When it killed people, you didn't notice because you were too busy being important. 22 years old. Recruited to surveil her own father. Foster's immunity files came at dawn. 200 pages. Claire approached him 18 months ago. Double salary for accelerated trials. Off books. After patient 3 declined, Claire wrote, "You signed penalty clauses exceeding your lifetime earnings. Data is valuable regardless of outcomes. Continue or forfeit everything, including your license." 16 patients. 16 deaths. Her written authorization for continuation. But emails referenced primary investor approval. Claire communicated with someone Foster never met through encrypted channels. Someone above Claire greenlit this. I traced the Delaware Shell Company. 6 subsidiary layers to Apex Ventures. Let our Series C, 40 million. 3 board seats. 1 clause. Apex retained rights to intellectual property derived from exploratory research programs. VG 447 wasn't disclosed. If protocols worked, Apex owned them. If not, Vanguard took liability. Sienna's message at 9 a.m., Lone Mountain. Summit Trail. Come alone. Found her on a bench overlooking the Golden Gate. Silver compass catching fog light. You found Apex. You knew. Took 4 months. This wasn't about enhancement. Data. Every patient generated neurological scans during enhancement and degradation. Worth billions for brain-computer interfaces. Apex is a front. Defense contractors. DARPA adjacent. They needed human trial data FDA would never approve. Vanguard needed capital. Claire brokered it. She handed me a tablet. Your signature isn't forged. It's generated. Deepfake outputs using your biometric signing data from legitimate trials. Forensic analysis showed my signatures matched down to microscopic pen pressure. Machine learning trained on 2,000 actual signatures. Someone stole my signing algorithm. Someone you gave access to every document. Someone controlling your digital security infrastructure. Claire sold my identity to defense contractors. Used it to authorize trials that killed 16 people. So perfectly even forensics couldn't tell the difference. The emergency board meeting happened at 4 p.m. Encrypted video. 8 faces. 5 I recognized. 3 were Apex representatives. Black screens. Voice modulation. I presented everything. USB files. Foster's testimony. Deepfake signatures. Shell companies. 16 deaths tied to Apex funding. 1 black screen spoke. Artificial voice. Our investment was good faith. How you used capital is your fiduciary responsibility. You buried IP rights giving you ownership of undisclosed trials. Standard venture terms. We have no operational role. No knowledge of programs. Our liability is 0. 16 people died generating data you own. We own nothing until valuable. Right now, it's evidence of your negligence. We're divesting. 3 screens went dark. Claire's statement hit Bloomberg at 5:47. Vanguard Crisis Director takes full responsibility. She admitted authorizing Oakland. Claimed she concealed it to protect company reputation. Portrayed herself as loyal executive with catastrophic judgment. Resigned. Expressed remorse. Made herself villain, me victim. 400 words. Sienna called. She made herself radioactive. DOJ takes easy conviction. You walk. Vanguard survives. She does 3 years and gets a book deal. That's not justice. It's closure. What most people want. The families meet attorneys tomorrow. Class action. They're not interested in settlements. They want criminal charges. Congressional hearings. Vanguard dismantled. Pause. Margaretchen asked if you knew her son was dead. She said, find out. If you didn't know, maybe he's not a monster. Maybe just a coward. Reeves showed at 11 p.m. 6 hours. Claire's statement buys time. But my bosses want this wrapped by morning. Either you give formal statement corroborating Foster and implicating Apex, or I execute the warrant. He pull papers. Arrest warrant. My name. Criminal negligence, fraud, research violations. I didn't know. Prove it. Tonight. On record. He handed me a card. Federal Building. 6 a.m. Bring your lawyer and everything Sienna gave you. Or a toothbrush. Jordan was editing. I need to show you something. Filmed 2 months ago. Claire in a coffee shop. Long lens. Phone call. Willfully ignorant is still a defense. Marcus doesn't read contracts he trusts me to handle. Doesn't attend subsidiary meetings. Doesn't ask budget questions if numbers look good. Brilliant at science and branding. Everything else? Delegates. Yes, protects him. Protects us. A CEO who doesn't know what his company does is negligent, not criminal. Negligence settles. Intent requires proof of knowledge. She was building your ignorance defense while running trials. You weren't willfully blind. You were deliberately kept blind. Blocked number. Voice modulation. Apex. You have evidence implicating parties who didn't authorize this. We offer complete exoneration. $200 million. Immediate transfer. In exchange, all copies of Cross's files destroyed. Tonight. If I refuse, we release communications showing you approved enhancement budgets. Emails with your signature authorizing transfers. Every contract Claire signed had your authentication. You wanted plausible deniability. We gave it. Force this to trial. We prove you knew everything. Deadline. I drove to Oakland. 2 a.m. Margaretchen's door. Told her everything. The trial. The decline. David dying 18 months ago while she received fake letters. She listened. Silent. Then, if you could go back, if you knew what this would cost, would you still build Vanguard? I opened my mouth to say no. But standing surrounded by her dead son's trophies, I realized I didn't know. And not knowing made me exactly what Jordan said. Not a monster. Not a victim. A man who built something bigger than his capacity for moral attention. Federal Building. 6 a.m. I arrived at 5:47. Reeves. 2 DOJ attorneys. Recording technician. Conference room. Voluntary deposition. Not under arrest. Everything on record. 12 hours. When did I first hear about VG 447? Never until the email. Authorize Oakland? Never knowingly. Sign consents? No. Signatures were generated. Review Claire's budgets? No. Attend subsidiary meetings? No. Read Apex terms? Scanned. Trust a counsel. Question IP language? No. Implement oversight? No. Why not? Because I trusted people I hired. Focused on science that would save lives. Believed success and morality could coexist without vigilance. Because I was wrong. Hour 7. Reeves stepped out. Returned. Claire arrested 20 minutes ago. News showed her in handcuffs. Gray sweater. Walking between agents. No statement. Hour 9. Jordan texted MSNBC. Sienna's press conference. 12 families. Screen showing 16 faces. Not subjects. People. We're releasing complete VG 447 dataset to public domain. Medical records. Protocols. Videos. Transactions. Everything. No NDAs. The world deserves to know. Margaretchen. My son believed he was helping humanity. Died in convulsions. For 18 months, I received fake letters. I'm here so no other mother gets told everything she believed was a lie. Dataset downloaded 73,000 times within hours. Congressional hearings drafted. Reeves at elevator. 7 p.m. Claire refuses to implicate Apex. Says she acted alone. Kept you uninformed to protect you. What about Apex? Shell companies dissolved. Accounts emptied. Board members were AI-generated voices. Routed through 17 countries. We can't find anyone. I believe you didn't know. But you built a company where not knowing was possible. That's still a crime. Jordan in my car. Camera off. Finishing the documentary. Not about you anymore. What's it about? The 16. Who they were. What families lost. What happens when innovation moves faster than ethics and nobody's watching. You're in it. But you're not the story. You're just the person who wasn't paying attention. 6 months later. Margaret's building. Community room. 12 families. VG 447 Memorial Foundation. I'd liquidated Vanguard shares. Everything into trust for families. Counseling. Educational funds. Medical monitoring. Margaret asked me to speak. I can't ask forgiveness. Can't offer anything approximating what you lost. I can only promise every day I'll remember that progress without accountability isn't progress. It's just expensive harm. Sofia Ramirez's father stood. My daughter wanted to be a neuroscientist. I thought your trial would teach her about the brain. I don't forgive you, but I accept you're trying. That's all we have. People trying to be better after being worse. Signed documents. Trust established. Board of family members. None of them me. Margaret stopped me at the door. David said the hardest part of science was knowing when to stop. When the experiment failed. She handed me a photo. David at graduation. You can't start over. But you can stop building things that require other people's children to die in secret. I keep that photo in the Faraday room, where I learned innovation and morality aren't naturally aligned. That building something world-changing doesn't make you important. Makes you dangerous if you're not watching. Vanguard stock dropped 73%. Board removed me. Claire serves 8 years. Foster got immunity. Sienna teaches bioethics at Berkeley. Jordan's documentary premiered at Sundance. Won Audience Award. I watched from back row. Apex was never found. Data never recovered. Somewhere, someone's using research bought with 16 lives. That's the punishment. Not lawsuits. Not reputation. Not families' faces. Knowing I built something I couldn't see the edges of. By the time I looked, people were already dying in the dark. The VG 447 case in this story is fictional, but the ethical questions it raises are real. As AI-generated authentication becomes indistinguishable from human signatures, and as biotech research accelerates beyond regulatory oversight, we're entering an era where accountability becomes harder to trace and easier to deny. If this story made you think about the hidden costs of innovation, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories that explore the uncomfortable spaces between progress and morality, subscribe, because the next one goes even deeper. Thanks for watching.